Attired in the suit of an English duke from the 1870s, Leopold stood to study the new machine being introduced, and sketched on his notepad as the ladies couldn't help but turn around to gaze at him, devouring the eye candy every chance they could get. He indeed was handsome, tall, and extruded confidence, something common to the identity of the English Nobel. He heard a snicker behind him to what sounded like the biggest erection on the planet as the host pronounced it, and began to chase him, but after much intrusion, lost him to the crowd. Leopold enters his house, very late, as his uncle angrily demands his servants help him get ready as soon as possible. In Leopold's room, the servants are rushing to help him get dressed as he rehearses in front of his reflection, with a drink in his hand, all of which his uncle calls his amusement of listening to his own voice. His uncle grabs the chance to convince him again of the reality he needs to face, to go down there and marry. But Leopold is quick to correct him by allowing marriage to be a promise of eternal love, and he can't give something for a lifetime he hasn't experienced for a moment. His uncle's expression immediately falls, and he angrily expresses that his dad would be so disappointed if he'd seen Leopold like this, that he is not a true duke. But Leopold thinks that true royals are people like Edison who have invented things and contributed to humanity. But he is stopped as his uncle lands not just 2, but 3 slaps across his face, and tells him he cannot be anything like them and he should just find a wealthy wife instead. On the dance floor, with the most awkward of potentials, Leopold dances with each one by one as his butler ticks off their names, when he suddenly sees the same guy from earlier peeking through the crowd and leaves his dance mate to chase him out the building and to the place he was sketching in the beginning. He chases him up the ladder of the building and inside, when they suddenly reach a cliff, and while fighting, the guy falls off and Leopold manages to catch a hold of his hand. The guy tries to struggle out of it when they are startled by the rope going loose and the wooden base to fall off, causing them both to fall into the fog. An audience is watching a movie premiere as Kate disappointedly stands behind and judges that the audience isn't all that in with the protagonist, to which the writer explodes at her face and tells her that they are ruining American cinema. Kate is angry on her way back home and rants to her friend about how she is basically helping the cinema by reading into people's likings and opinions and delivering movies on that. She talks about how her ex-boyfriend, Stuart, was just the same, out of the people with the most irrelevant and insane of ideas do not earn much, and how she had to pay his rents all those years when they were up to no good. As if her day was not already going badly, her apartment's lift malfunctions. Fast forward to her room. She hears loud thuds on her roof and loud barks. Curious, she goes upstairs to check what's up when she sees Stuart lay down a man on his couch, but is caught off guard when Stuart sees her through the window. She makes a run back to her apartment and calls him to ask what is up. He tells her about his new adventure, that he has finally found a portal between the present and the past, 1876, from where he dragged his great-great-great-grandpa, Leopold, to the present. Kate is annoyed and does not believe him, to which Stuart makes her guilty for never believing in him, and for not doing enough all those 4 years before ending the call. Leopold wakes up to the loud barks at the dog, who is seen trying to remove his cage grill off the wall. He finds himself in a complete mess, and overwhelmed, he tells Stuart his uncle will not pay him anything if that's what he's expecting. Stuart explains everything to him and how he is the inventor of lifts, while Kate runs up again to see what the commotion is about. Leopold does not believe Kate or Stuart until Kate asks him about the latest technologies. Stuart leaves the now convinced Leopold behind in the house while he takes his dog out for a walk, and ends up falling off the lift and vanishing in the fog, again, leaving behind the dog on the same floor. Kate finds the dog without his leash and asks Leopold to take him around the block for a walk. He gets to see the Manhattan Bridge and is awed by the fact it's complete and still stands, and hurries back to tell Stuart all about it. Stuart, bedridden, asks Kate to take care of Leopold as he has to be able to return before a certain time, and tries to make her understand the gravity of the situation, that he will practically cease to exist if his great-great-great-grandpa does not marry, and will not reproduce, and him and all other descendants of his will vanish. Kate calls him crazy and asks him to seek help before leaving. She comes home to see her brother at Stuart's, appreciating what he considered the best acting by Leopold of the Duke from the 1870s. They have dinner together, and Kate and her brother cannot help but notice his different table mannerisms, so on point for her actor brother and just as weird for Kate. She asks him to leave in frustration. Kate, as usual, is interrupted in her yoga session by loud thuds on her rooftop. This time, it's Leopold who managed to overfry his toasts. Yes, and is going on rambling about the toast machine sucks when Kate makes fun of his comments about how it is at theirs. Leopold is taken by offense and defends back in the most British way possible, which makes the Edison light bulb light up above her head. Kate brings him to their advertisement audition and gets him a spot. Leopold notices the closeness between Kate and her boss and warns her of his intentions, while offering to be her chaperone for their dinner that night. Kate laughs and claims she doesn't need one with her boss if she can go alone with Leopold. Night follows and Kate is at dinner with her boss while Kate's brother brings Leopold to the club, where he wants to escort a beautiful girl named Beatrice. But much to his demise, she seems uninterested and is only intrigued when Leopold speaks. Considering the way he talks, who wouldn't? Later, Leopold tells Kate's brother Beatrice slipped her number to Leopold for him and that he should call her in the morning, not in the middle of the night. What a gentleman. He asks about Kate's return and her brother is quick to point out he likes her, and how he doesn't give a word about Beatrice because it's Kate he likes. Leopold denies it and says he is just drunk. They both then go to the dinner place, where Kate and her boss are at, and take the seats. The air gets tense around Kate's boss and Leopold as the former boasts about things he doesn't have an inkling of, and Leopold calls him out on it, busting him and calling him a braggart before leaving. Kate apologizes and spends the rest of the night in her room without talking to Leopold or her brother. Leopold writes an apology letter for Kate, with the classic ink brush atypical of people of his time, and has her brother slip it into her bag for her that morning. She is taken by surprise as she sees it between her files during the meeting. Her friend convinces her to go to the dinner Leopold has invited her to, and that it's the best apology letter in the world. She had left a reply letter on her table for her to send to Leopold later. She comes home and rather happily gets ready for the evening, choosing a black lace dress, and heads over to the place. She is welcomed by the rooftop air and the romantic sounds of a violin. As Leopold, wearing the Duke's attire as always, he pulls back for her out of courtesy, looking dashing and handsome as ever. Kate tells him that love for her is like Santa Claus, something unreal and unattainable. But what followed would prove her wrong forever. They dance to the violin the 1876 way as Leopold lets her rest her arm over his shoulder and holds her other hand gently, as they move with the rhythm so delicately Kate cannot help but enjoy. The dance, his thoughts, their chemistry, and as Kate tells him she isn't brave enough to face the world, he kisses her, and they both fall in deep in love. Morning follows, and Charlie helps Leopold with the dishwasher and asks him to only turn it on when Kate is around so she knows he did the dishes. Kate is welcomed with a very good morning and they both have a good one. They go around touring for the rest of the day and Leopold finds his home on the street and dashes in against the rules. He breaks open his secret hiding place for his valuables and shows Kate the ring his mom wore when she was alive. They go sightseeing by the Manhattan Bridge, where Kate expresses she's never crossed any, and asks Leopold how it is back where he's from. Leopold expresses how he misses its rhythm, how it was slow and steady, like today. They are sitting on their balcony when Kate rants about she Sundays over and dreads the coming work week. Leopold slides his hand into his pocket and brings out the ring he showed her earlier, and musters up the courage to ask if he has ever considered it. And before he could say it, Kate had already fallen asleep in his embrace. He puts her to bed. They are working on the advertisement commercial the next day, when Leopold realizes the advertisement product he was shooting for is horrible to the taste and storms outside, not wanting to work anymore. Kate runs behind him to confront him when they end up arguing over Kate working to deceive the people, her claiming she needs the money, and if she has to, then so be it. The ride back is awkward and Kate labels the weekend a one-time thing. Stuart is back from the hospital and is in his apartment when Charlie joins in and ends up finding pictures of Leopold from 1876. Finally believing him, but then he stumbles upon a picture that shocks both Charlie and Stuart. Kate is headed to the party that evening and is ready to give her a speech. Her boss tells her she only has a few minutes until she goes on stage while Charlie and Stuart barge in. Kate stands in front of the mirror Leopold stood in front of, and looks at herself one last time before Stuart tells Kate she may have been destined to meet him, to meet her love after. She is shook, but runs down as she is being called. On stage is when she sees the pictures of her on that dance floor, where Leopold is photographed dancing with his potential brides. She is awestruck in the middle of the speech, and diverts it by expressing herself finally, that she had found herself someone who knew just what she wanted. Overwhelmed, she smiles but it falls, as she admits she wasn't ready for what was in front of her. With that, she runs off stage, and out with Charlie and Leopold. They are stuck in traffic and Kate in this disbelief over the pictures, while Stuart assures her it was meant to be, for her to go back to the past and Leopold to come to the future. Still confused, they ditch the taxi and run to the bridge. Kate needs to fall off, to pass across time and meet Leopold, the love of her life, as Stuart convinces her. She tells Charlie she loves him one last time and jumps off. On the other side, the clock is ticking and Leopold is about to make his announcement of his bride that he has chosen from the party, while Kate runs to the house. On the dot, as Leopold is about to utter the name of the bride he's chosen, Kate enters and Leopold is taken aback, calling her name in front of the crowd like Kate's usual, before running down the stage and kissing her. They dance in front of the crowd, the Duke and the Duchess, and live happily ever after. Subscribe to N Recaps for more love and romance movie recaps like this.